Hi everyone. I want to share with you for Easter a sonnet cycle by my favorite poet, Donne. He was a 17th century metaphysical poet. You can look him up. He wrote a cycle of sonnets, 7 sonnets that are connected, the last line to the first line. It is called La Corona, which now sounds terrible, but what it means is the crown, and the sonnets themselves make a crown. So I hope you enjoy. La Corona by Donne. Deign at my hands this crown of prayer and praise, weaved in my low devout melancholy. Thou which of good hast, yea art treasury, all changing, unchanged, ancient of days. But do not, with a vile crown of frail bays, reward my muse's white sincerity. But what thy thorny crown gained, that give me, a crown of glory, which doth flower always. The ends crown our works, but thou crownest our ends. For at our end begins our endless rest, this first last end now zealously possessed. With a strong sober thirst my soul attends. 'Tis time that heart and voice be lifted high. Salvation to all that will is nigh. Annunciation. Salvation to all that will is nigh, that all, which always is all everywhere, which cannot sin, and yet all sins must bear, which cannot die, yet cannot choose but die. Lo, faithful Virgin, yields himself to lie in prison in thy womb, and though he there can take no sin, nor thou give, yet he will wear, taken from thence, flesh, which death's force may try. Ere by the spheres time was created, thou wast in his mind, who is thy son and brother, whom thou conceived, yet thou art now thy Maker's maker, and thy father's mother. Thou hast light in dark, and shuttest in little room, immensity cloistered in thy dear womb. Nativity. Immensity cloistered in thy dear womb, now leaves his well-beloved imprisonment. There he hath made himself to his intent weak enough, now into our world to come. But oh, for thee, for him, hath the inn no room. Yet lay him in this stall, and from the Orient stars and wise men will travel to prevent the effect of Herod's jealous general doom. Seest thou, my soul, with thy faith's eyes, how he which fills all place, yet none holds him, doth lie? Was not his pity towards thee wondrous high, that would have need to be pitied by thee? Kiss him, and with him into Egypt go, with his kind mother, who partakes thy woe. Temple. With his kind mother, who partakes thy woe, Joseph, turn back, see where your child doth sit, blowing, yea, blowing out those sparks of wit, which himself on the doctors did bestow. The word but lately could not speak, and lo, it suddenly speaks wonders. Whence comes it, that all which was, and all which should be writ, a shallow-seeming child should deeply know? His godhead was not soul to his manhood, nor had time mellowed him to this ripeness. But as for one which hath a long task, 'tis good, with the sun to begin his business. He in his age's morning thus began, by miracles exceeding power of man. Crucifying. By miracles exceeding power of man, he faith in some, envy in some begat. For what weak spirits admire, ambitious hate. In both affections many to him ran, but oh, the worst are most, they will and can, Alas, and do, unto the Immaculate, whose creature fate is, now prescribe a fate, measuring self-life's infinity to a span, nay, to an inch. Lo, where condemned he bears his own cross with pain, yet by and by when it bears him, he must bear more and die. Now thou art lifted up, draw me to thee, and at thy death giving such liberal dole, moist with one drop of thy blood, my dry soul. Resurrection. Moist with one drop of thy blood, my dry soul shall, though she now be in extreme degree too stony hard and yet too fleshy, be freed by that drop from being starved, hard, or foul, and life, by this death abled, shall control death, whom thy death slew. Nor shall to me fear of first or last death bring misery. If in thy little book my name thou enroll, flesh in that long sleep is not putrefied, but made that there of which and for which 'twas, nor can by other means be glorified. May then sin's sleep and death's soon from me pass, that waked from both, I again risen may salute the last and everlasting day. Ascension. Salute the last and everlasting day. Joy at the uprising of this sun and sun, yea, whose just tears or tribulation have purely washed or burnt your drossy clay. Behold, the highest, parting hence away, lightens the dark clouds which he treads upon, nor doth he by ascending show alone, but first he, and he first, enters the way. O strong Ram, which hast battered heaven for me, mild Lamb, which with thy blood hast marked the path, bright torch, which shinest, that I the way may see, O with thine own blood quench thine own just wrath, and if thy Holy Spirit my muse did raise, deign at my hands this crown of prayer and praise. Happy Easter, everyone.